Good afternoon, YouTubers. T-Square here with T-Square Talk. So hope everybody's having a great day. I got an exciting comment that we're going to talk about this afternoon. I try to do a morning video of something that is a hot topic or what's going on with precious metals. And then I've been trying to do an afternoon video where I address a comment every afternoon. And then on top of that, I do some short videos in the evening that kind of relates to my personal stack or what's going on with me directly, whether that be food, vacation, whatever the case may be. So be sure and check out everything going on if you're really interested in all the channel and stuff. So with that being said, let's jump into today's comment because I think it's a very important comment. The comment reads, and this comment's from MJ Butler. It says, I'm not from the United States, so I don't know how relevant the loss of the petrodollar really is over here. Now, that's a very interesting comment because, first thing, I don't know where over here is, but it can be relevant to people in other countries. A lot of people have this belief that, and it's partially true, because I believe the Americans, and here in the U.S., we're going to be affected the most by losing the petrodollar, because it has given us the ability to basically get whatever we want and print money, and nobody really notices what's going on, essentially. If you're an American, you've enjoyed the rewards of that system for a long time. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Some of you may not even know what the petrodollar means, so we'll touch on that for about a minute. If you guys really enjoyed this video and you want to help me out, we are trying to grow the channel, so I would greatly appreciate if you just take a quick second, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe if you're new to the channel, and leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. If there's something you want to see a video on, let me know, and I will see if I can make it happen just for you. And anybody else that's interested in seeing that too. So, okay, so with that being said, first of all, for people that don't know what the petrodollar is, the petrodollar is basically an agreement that was signed. It was a 50-year deal, or at least it's been going on for about 50 years. However, recently they decided they're not going to renew it. The deal was that all oil from Saudi Arabia, which is one of the major OPEC countries, they produce the most oil, and they agreed that we're going to sell all oil in US dollars. If China wants oil from Saudi Arabia and China doesn't like us, it doesn't matter. They have to get dollars to buy oil, which means it don't matter who you are. If you want oil from Saudi Arabia, you're going to give them dollars. And that means they kind of have to work with the United States. There's no looping around us. You have to deal with us. You have to get our dollars. In return for that privilege, the United States would basically defend them, give them a security, and then they would reinvest them dollars back into weapons, security, infrastructure, and they've grown. It's been a mutual deal for both countries. Both countries gained out of that. I know some people out there might say that, oh, I thought people lost out. Well, some people do lose out. The people that lose out are essentially the people outside of those two countries. Now, if you want oil and you have to get dollars, you've got to give us something here in the United States. Maybe you're going to give us your coffee beans from Brazil, your vodka from Russia, or your manufacturing goods from China, or whatever the case may be. Now, with that coming to an end, all those countries that are sitting on huge amounts of dollars right now so they can buy oil realize that, oh, hey, wait a minute, we can pay in other currencies, like the Chinese yuan. So China decides, well, we no longer need as many dollars as we are currently holding. So let's spend them and take goods from the United States for a change. By doing that, they basically take inventory that we have on hand, and that causes prices here in America to go up. But it's not just China doing it. It's a lot of other countries. Now, the U.S. also makes money every time people are using their currency because we basically get an interest out of that. We can loan them dollars, and in return, they pay us the dollars back plus an interest rate. No longer needing those dollars means it cuts into our extra funding, our interest that we're getting paid. So that puts even more stress on an already broke country, I guess you could say. Some people will say the United States is not broke, but when you look at how much debt we have, that would say otherwise. If you are an individual household and essentially you're spending more than you're making, then that's a bad sign. That's a sign that you're going in debt, and it's a sign that it's eventually going to come to an end. Now, moving on to the exact comment, how much will that affect if you're in another country? Now, depending on which country you're in, it will have a big effect. Here in the United States, it's going to have the most devastating effect, as I've already stated. Why? Because prices are going to go up. Goods are being taken out of the country. We're making even less money when people borrow money from us. And essentially, it's going to put us in a really hard spot. If you're in another country that has no use really with dollars, then it's probably not going to affect you quite as much. But if you're in a country where you're heavily using dollars for trade, or you're in a country that wants to kind of back your currency to the US dollar, well, if the US dollar falls, your currency falls. Now, some people, though, don't fully realize, and some people do, that you could be in America and be very lightly affected by it. Now, how is that possible? If you're in a country like America and all of a sudden they quit using the dollars, then you're going to be affected. And that's true for the most part. However, people that are stacking physical assets, such as gold and silver, which, you know, gold and silver is probably one of the best assets to stack in my personal opinion. I know some people will say, no, just buy food, buy water, buy pew-pews, ammo. All of that is good to have, yes. However, let me tell you this, that you can only hold so much food, and food will eventually go bad. How much money do you spend to preserve your food, whether it's in the form of oxygen absorbers, canning jars, whatever the case may be? When it comes to physical silver and gold, you just hold it. You hold it. There's no extra cost. I mean, the truth of the matter is, this ounce of silver that I probably bought for $25 is now worth a lot more. Now, this is probably a bad example because this is an American Silver Eagle. But any time you have silver, it continues to go up in value. We're not stacking for the worst case scenario, the collapse of the dollar or the end of the world or whatever you may hear. We're stacking because we see that the prices of everything are going up. And if you're in the United States and you're stacking, well, yeah, prices are still going to start skyrocketing around you on everything you buy. But if you've got silver and gold, that stuff's going up in value too. Now, and that applies for people in other countries too. Because the truth of the matter is, all fiat currency is losing value a certain amount. Now, it just so happens that the loss of the petrodollar could accelerate the United States currency. Now, I hear this time and time again that, oh, the U.S. is the top dog, nothing can ever happen to us. And I usually hear that mostly from Americans because they've taught us that. It's been instilled in us. It's been brainwashed into us. Anybody, though, that's been abroad and traveled, I was military, so I've traveled all over the world. And I've seen firsthand what happens as currencies go down in value. You know, whether it be the U.S. brings in a huge base in the Philippines, and all of a sudden the Filipino peso starts dropping in value because the U.S. is all of a sudden spending tons of money. But eventually it filters and carries it up a little bit. Once we pulled out of the Philippines, we've actually seen their currency go down in value. But while we were there, if something like this happened, it would have a devastating blow because the majority of the money coming in is being watered down, essentially. So with that being said, you have to be mindful of what's going on. Prices are going up. Gold and silver are going up. Food's going up, gas, groceries, everything. And by buying silver, stacking it a little bit, you're basically isolating yourself a little bit more from when the dollar goes down. Because if you have less dollars, the less of these you have, I mean, if this goes to, if I have all this silver and I only have one of these, if the dollars plunge in value to where they're worth 10 cents, well, did I really lose anything? No, because this stuff went up and I've got more of that than I've got of this. So it's pretty easy once you really start putting a lot of thought into it. As the paper becomes worth less, it's going to get you less items when you go to the grocery store. As they print more and more paper, it becomes it's worth less. There's more of it filtering back into the country. Before, we could print it and send it out of the country, and then we didn't feel the full brunt of it. Why? Because people are holding it in their banks overseas. They're holding it under their mattresses overseas. But once they start coming back, it's going to put a lot more paper into the system. As more paper comes in, it becomes worth less, which means you're going to get less for it. So with that being said, I hope this video addressed that comment. I thank everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take a quick minute, hit the thumbs up. I know sometimes when it comes to this type of stuff, it's a little dry. That's why I kind of try to show some silver and stuff off so people can be like, oh, that's a cool coin. Oh, I wonder what that is. That is an NRA round. So with that being said, I thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.